I want to thank every teacher here, and I should first talk about my definition of a teacher, and I believe it's much broader than you'll find in the dictionary, but I believe a teacher is anybody who impacts the life of a child. In fact, the most wonderful teacher I've ever met was a school nurse, and she impacted more lives of teachers, of staff, of students than anybody I've ever met. And the more teachers I meet, the more I look at myself and I think, did they make the right choice? Have they met all these other people in our state? I start to have those questions. Imagine the future if we make our schools a priority. That phrase has been rolling in my head over and over again. Imagine the future if we make our schools a priority. What exactly does that mean to me, to my kids? What is my role as a teacher? What is a school? Schools to some are mere bricks and mortar, copy paper, pencil shavings, bells and tests, my husband's definition, detention. But to those deeply entrenched in education, it encompasses so much more. School has a much less tangible meaning, one that no walls could hold, for it is far too immense. School is the place where dreams are born, where student learning is fostered and nurtured so the vicious cycle of poverty can and will be broken. School is the concept that no matter what your walk in life, you can achieve it if you believe it. School is about lighting the fire of education in those students that may not believe in themselves. It is about showing parents and families strengths in their children that they may not yet see. It is late nights up reflecting about how to reach that one child that seems just beyond reach, but you know is within grasp. School is the place where goals are set and the future is born. School is where teachers and those involved in education lift kids to their full potential, where sweat and tears are the salty catalysts of change. Imagine the future if we make our schools a priority. I've had many aha moments in my life's journey, usually at times and places where I least expect them. There's one in particular that holds special meaning when I imagine the future for my students. I'm not really sure why, but I've never gotten emotionally, and I am an emotional person, but I've never gotten overly emotional when I hear our national anthem. Please don't think any worse of me. I know it may seem un-American or heartless, but it really was just a habit to pause. It was a habit to stand up, to go through the motions. For whatever reason, it didn't hold much meaning. That changed this year. The date, January 20th. It was a Tuesday, and my kids had voted to eat lunch in the classroom. We had been preparing for the inauguration. We'd been studying the meaning of Maya Angelou's 1993 inaugural poem. We'd been discussing the meaning of the words of the oath, discussing the meaning of Elizabeth Alexander's poem, Praise Song for the Day, written for that particular Tuesday. As the clock hands pointed towards the ceiling, we began to watch. It started out as nothing really out of the ordinary. 17 children eating mac and cheese off foam trays, sitting at their desks. But then something happened. Something transformed us. Something magical was born. As we focused on that TV, I glanced around my classroom at the pigtails, the mohawks, the braids, the fades. The national anthem began to play. Something stirred inside me. Something sparked as I soaked in my surroundings and the looks on my students' faces. I saw at that moment my kids' lives fundamentally changed. From that moment on, they realized the fact fully manifested that they could do anything. Then, one by one, they came and they stood by me, locked arm in arm, shoulder to shoulder, hip to hip. We were a chain of colors, of backgrounds, of beliefs, a classroom family witnessing history. We were hypnotized in that formation, eyes transfixed, brains dancing with the possibilities as we listened to that poem we had been waiting for. And then we heard the line written so eloquently by Elizabeth Andrews. In today's sharp sparkle, this winter air, anything can be made, any sentence begun, on the brink, on the brim, on the cusp. One of my students, Charnay, looked at me at that moment and said one thing that'll stick with me for years to come. Ms. A, she said, my sentence begins here at school. Amen, Charnay, baby, you got it. I gave her a huge bear hug. The rest of my class piled on, and I thought to myself, yes, Charnay, for you, child, are on the brink, on the brim, on the cusp. Now when I hear the Star-Spangled Banner, my chest does tighten, and my eyes well, for the meaning has totally evolved. It is about the hopes and dreams of my students, the look in their eyes as they dream big. It is about the moment that we shared together when our lives intersected and changed for the better. It is about imagining the future. I wrote a poem about one student in particular that afternoon, trying to capture the essence of the moment. When he began jotting down his goals, he just started writing. It doesn't have a title, but I think it transfers to many students we see in our schools on a daily basis. Caught up in a daydream, eyes sparkle, moving to the pulsing rhythm of his heart. Confidence, courage, that fire has been lit. Sadness kept in the reserves for another time, another place, no room for it now. Hopes and fears entangle, blooming into one upward spiraling vine. Caught in a daydream, feet firmly planted in the past, but arms reaching high for the sky, for the world, for the possibilities. One deep breath, inhaling cool comfort while exhaling the frost of anxiety. Hands trembling, he pauses, wavers. Then, pen to paper, his daydream appears in letters, then words, then sentences, and those daydreams metamorphosize, turning into hopes of his future. Imagine the future if we make our schools a priority. That is why we are in education. We are there to show our students that they are on the cusp of change, of possibilities, and we are also on the brink, on the brim, on the cusp of change. Imagine the future, for you are heroes. You have the most powerful jobs in the world. You are able to change the future, change a life, change the world for your children. You are the rocks that they depend on, the one stable force in many of their lives, and never downplay your power. Be that dream lifter. Be that person who teaches creativity and self-expression, who builds the self-confidence of our future leaders. Be that person who is the voice for your children to your state legislators. Be that person who reaches out to the quiet kid in the corner going unnoticed. Be that person in a child's life who listens, who cares, who motivates. Be relentless in the giving of your love and of your time. Even if your students never tell you they appreciate you, they do. Be unforgiving with your respect, even if it is not reciprocated in a way you might recognize. For you are teachers holding the ultimate power in the world. Ours is not a reward in fortune, in fame, but the rewards are so much sweeter. For we are not just teachers. There is no such thing as just a teacher, but we are dream lifters. We help give rise to the future. We make a difference in the life of a child, and that is the most powerful job in the world. Imagine the future if we make our schools a priority, for we are on the brink, on the brim, on the cusp of change. Be proud of the magnitude of your profession, for you hold the ability to shape the future. Thank you.